appreciated Chris and Garrett's conversation this last Sunday that we got to watch and be a part of. I love that they talked about being an emulsifier. I was glad that he defined that for us because I don't know what that is. I loved that picture of soap bringing water and oil together, and being the kind of person that brings people together for open conversation. I loved that. I loved the talk about boldness, which isn't just turning up the volume, but it's being bold to be authentically who you are, and speak the truth from a posture of humility and listening. And I loved that picture of God influencing all the corners of our souls where maybe we haven't given ourselves fully over to Him. And even this idea of recreating community. And I think my favorite thing that he talked about was being people who bring hope to situations that seem hopeless. And as I was processing that, I was thinking, what does it look like to bring true hope? Because I think we've all felt that feeling of somebody trying to give us false hope, like, oh, it's all going to be fine. And you're like, how? What does that even mean? Or, we just wait this out, this too shall pass. And you're like, that doesn't feel very hopeful, actually. So what does it look like to be a bearer of true hope? And as I was processing this, of course, I settled on the person of Christ, the expression of God that Christ is, and the way that He brought real hope to everybody He encountered. Even when He was cleansing the temple, He goes in there and He tosses over tables and He's angry because they're selling things in the temple. And that's a form of hope. He's restoring what's been broken. They loved that picture. And, the woman at the well, Jesus is walking down the side of the road and He stops to have this conversation with this Samaritan woman who's from a different culture than him, different ethnicity than him. The Jewish people at the time didn't talk to Samaritans. They had nothing to do with them. They thought they were dangerous. And Jesus specifically picked her out to tell her the truth about herself. You have had 5 husbands, and the man that you're with now is not your husband. And then to offer her real hope. I would give you living water if you asked for it. I am the one you're waiting for. And I just love, He told her things that He hadn't told anybody yet up until that point. He noticed her, He listened to her, and then He told her the truth. And it was a place of real hope. In fact, she was so excited about it, she ran off to her town and was like, this guy told me everything that I've ever done. You got to come and meet him. I think he's the Messiah. And it caused this huge stir. That's real hope. And so as I was processing that and thinking through this picture that Jesus gives us of being the bearers of hope, it came down to me to this sense of listening, seeing people clearly and situations clearly, and then speaking the truth of God's character into them. Because I think that's what Jesus did when He cleansed the temple. This is the house of God. You can't do this here, it's defiling it. Or even with the woman, I would give you living water. And so speaking the truth of God's character into a situation that you have listened to, have seen clearly, and have thought through, gives people a hope that they can stand on, because God's character never changes, which praise God for that His character never changes. And so I think that's the kind of hope that I want to bring to people in this season. A hope that comes from listening, and then telling the truth about who God is in their situation, in their specific place, and letting that be a place where hope is birthed for them. And honestly, as I was thinking through how to be the kind of person who can listen and bring real hope, it was brought to me the verse that Chris and Garrett shared on Sunday from Colossians. This is Paul's letter to the Colossian church, and he's just telling them how to live their lives. I'm just going to read it again. It was in the sermon. You can listen to it, but I'm just going to read it because I loved it. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. I love this picture of putting on this clothing. So it's not even just be a person who is compassionate and kind. If you're not, put it on like clothes. Put on compassion. Put on kindness. and humility, gentleness and patience. And over all of this, put on love. And that's something that I've been practicing since we were reminded of this verse on Sunday, of putting this on, this attitude every day of compassion and kindness and humility, gentleness, patience, and love. It's a really nice place to live, and I'm going to keep trying to be that person for everybody I meet as I continue to walk through this season with all of you.